bars in a raid. Man, I go hard like Santan.
Hello there, welcome to another NSO pod. This is a continuation of our conversation with Joel Kim regarding young Took. I've actually mispronounced the name already. Yeah, anyway. Booker T, how you doing? Joined by you today.
Yeah, very well, thank you. I'm guessing you were alluding to Young Min Hyuk, yeah?
Young Min Hyuk. Hook, it's actually kind of pronounced just like without the Y.
Okay.
Young Min Hyuk. Or it's like kind of spelled in South Korean in a way where it's like E-O-U-K. E-O-U-K.
Okay.
Quite a few promising things to say from Joel Kim. It was obviously a good conversation, really in-depth kind of information about his past and his expectations and how the K-League kind of compares to other leagues in Asia and how it might translate to European leagues as well. So, yeah, if you're just listening to this or seeing this but haven't heard the Joel Kim conversation yet, yeah, please go back and listen to that. That will come out obviously tomorrow. Anyway, we're just going to continue on from our last friendly against the K-League All-Stars. I still can't believe that brain fart I had about Min Hook's name, but yeah, me move. I can just edit that out, I guess. Yeah, man. 4-2 winners? Or was it 4-3?
4-3, 4-3.
4-3, yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Went up 3-1. And then we obviously ran the changes. The rhythm of the game changed. Then obviously the K-League All-Stars got a few goals. But yeah, how did you see that game and what were the kind of standout performers for you or notable performances, good or bad?
So I didn't actually watch the game live. I was only able to finally, on my day off today, catch it. So I was able to watch the full 90. And I thought it was an interesting game. In many respects, I did feel it did feel kind of a game of two halves. Personally, I felt like the standout performers, certainly in the first half, was Kulu, Bergval, Son. I felt like Apollo picked up lots of really nice areas as well. And in the second half, even though it was a bit choppy, I could probably describe the game to be choppy. It felt very end to end at times. I wouldn't say there wasn't really anyone that was super standout in my opinion, but I kind of liked what Madison was trying to cook up in that second half. I feel Will Lancashire is an active young striker, so I really like that for his confidence as well. He's getting some goals in the pre-season, showing what he's about. And more added minutes for Spence, which he got another co-sign from the manager today, which is positive. So, yeah, all in all, it was a good result. Still some things that I'm minorly concerned about, but generally we're scoring, we're attacking the way he wants. It looks like we're setting up a little differently tactically, but again, we're still missing Romero, we're still missing Bentancur, we're still missing a couple of lads, Van der Ven. So we won't see the real version yet, but from the guys who have stepped in and the guys who have stepped up, especially the young Gs, from a pre-season friendly, I can't ask more.
Yeah, Jamie Donnelly is going to be relieved when Udogi comes back, I'm sure. He was quite active. A lot of people had Jamie Donnelly as like their man of the match kind of thing, but I thought he did okay. Like I thought his standout of his performance is probably his off the ball runs. Like there would be time to perfection. He'd be constantly inverting and attacking space at the right time, always creating that outlet for Son, who probably needs that on the left wing because his take on ability is obviously not quite as good now as it was, say, in his 20s.
Yeah.
So it's productive, but he's just too limited playing there, to be honest. Like I see such a range of quality in Jamie Donnelly when he's got like the what's the word I'm looking for? The benefit of kind of all the angles of being more in the middle of the pitch, and he can show off his range of creativity more. Like there's a big range that he can attack the box in centros and pick up goals as well. Like he's just more that where in the inverted left back position where he was productive, making good inverted runs. It was just always a left-footed infield pass, which was always kind of either backwards or to the side in more like a cutback fashion. And I don't feel like that would fly in a more competitive game. I feel like the more often than not would break down moves and see us getting countered, and he's already made the run forward, so he'll be in a vulnerable position as well. Like I didn't really see much in the way of the penetrative passing that I've known him or seen him do in the handful of games I have actually watched him. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm of the opinion that Jamie Donnelly's probably currently second best number 10. So yeah, I ideally want to see him there more often. Ideally, just want to see Udogie come back and just make that position his again.
Yeah, it's a funny one. Like I do agree with you as well in the sense that he's playing in this position, and obviously he's not a left back, so obviously his game and the way that he's been asked to play is completely, I wouldn't even say hampered, but he's almost handicapped because he's being asked to play a role that he doesn't do regularly. But you can clearly tell the positions that he picks up, the areas that he likes to take up. He's clearly someone who likes to receive the ball in between the lines, and whether it's through a shot or whether it's through a final third action, he generally does look very active. It would be good to see him play in a more inclusive role in midfield and see how he does fare, because he does seem very comfortable on the ball, which I actually really like, more so than I ever really thought, to be honest. And he does seem to link up quite well with the fullbacks who he has been playing with, and also with the forwards, especially Son over that left side, and Bergvall, who likes taking up areas on that left sort of channel as well when he comes infield. So yeah, I completely forgot about him in the fact that he was actually one of the better players. But again, he's been largely consistent throughout the preseason, and obviously maybe because of availability and whatnot, that's where he's been playing there. But yeah, I'm all for him to be given a chance at 10, unless a certain another 10 is given the opportunity to perform.
Has it been every single day as well that you've been tweeting either off your account or the NSO account? Just
yes, brother. You know,
just
just
get that
what
propaganda out there.
It's all about positive affirmations, bro. You can only ask for what you want. And every day I'm gonna ask for Eberechi Eze every single day, because I think there's too much of a talented player at this level for us to not even consider taking up. It's too much talent there for me to not consider it. So
yeah, man. Welcome to the table, Tobes. This is fresh back from LA.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good. Yeah, I'm alright,
you
man.
Adjusted
Sorry,
back to the hours.
I thought I had already adjusted, but clearly I haven't, because the minute it hits a certain time here, I'm literally just slapped with fatigue. So yeah, but good to be back.
Good to have you back too.
No. Good to have you.
Cheers,
yeah, just to round that off as well. Donnelly, who's obviously been talked about having a loan to, like, so apparently a lot of championship teams see looking at him. I don't hate that idea either. Ideally, I'd want to see him go to a team who's obviously proactive. Ideally, again, have some kind of 3 at the back build where they allow 2 10s to play in front of obviously a number 9, behind a number 9. Sorry, and yeah, like it will just probably ensure quite a lot of game time for him. Apparently, Birmingham's manager, who was obviously our assistant last year, really wants him as well. So we'll see what happened there. Emerson Royale didn't do anything to hinder his value in the market, thankfully. I thought he was actually our best defender. Sarr struggled for me a little bit. It was just a bit inconsistent. And yeah, it's just good to see Maddison and Bissouma looking a lot sharper because they're probably going to start our first league game. So all in all, net positive. Obviously, Ange Postecoglou, which you just alluded to, Booker, got the co-sign off Ange. Earlier today, I believe those comments were released. Are you happy for him to stay on and obviously just take Emerson Royale's place once he goes?
Yeah, I am. I feel like, I don't know, it can be looked at a number of ways. People can say Conte never gave him a chance and never really given him a fair crack at it. He has gone away. He's gone on loan. He's got some more experience, and with a lot of younger players that he's probably played with in the past as well, whether it's in England setup or at Tottenham. He looks to have his head really screwed on, and he's really performing at like a level that looks quite positive. I mean, it is just pre-season, but I definitely feel that there always has been a player from a technical perspective there. I still feel he is a player that can play at this level. We just need to see him given a chance, and it looks like he has been given a chance, and rightly so, with the preseason tour that he's gone on, and it's kind of an opportunity to give people a fresh slate. Others like Brian Hill and whatnot didn't take it, but it looks like Jed Spence has, and I'm all for it because if it means that we have a good deputy right back in Spence, then it also means that we can maybe hope, or it can maybe allude to having more appearances in midfield for Archie Gray, which I think is probably where he will end up in his career anyway. So yeah, I don't see any negative about it.
Yeah, fair. And that'll probably be the third of our starting midfielders on the first league game as well, if the theme of pre-season kind of comes to a head. Tobes, you happy to have Spence stay on?
Yeah. I'm at peace with it, but I'm more happy to have a certain man out of this club. Honestly, I've tried to be diplomatic. I accepted his strengths, and at the heart of it, I can accept that he isn't the worst player. Like, I think there is a competence to his defending. I think he's a decent defender, but honestly, I don't know what sickened me more: some of the haram that I saw from him on the football pitch, or some of the fierce and outright disgraceful defending of his name in the chat, and some of the comparisons made in the chat about his technical ability and that he's good in build up and all of this rubbish. It's just nonsense. Now people can stop the lies, people can stop the cap, people can stop the rubbish that they use to exaggerate this guy's importance to our team. I remember, and I'm going to call him out, my fellow Baldy side, telling me that he was our second best or third best performer in the second contest. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Stop. Just stop. Yeah? So, Emerson Royale, thank you. Arrivederci. Is that how you say it in Italian? Arrivederci. Goodbye. Go. Thank you for the money. Thank you for the service. Now, please pop. Off you pop. F off. You're not good enough. Jed Spence, come in. Let's actually have someone who has a better balance of defending and attacking, who's got the physique to play in this team, right? And he's homegrown. He ticks boxes. Let's go. Let's give him an opportunity, because if there's one thing anyone can say, Spurs fan or no Spurs fan, irrespective of the attitude concerns that he had at Leeds, etc., this guy has never, ever been given a fair shake at Tottenham. That's a fact. He's never had the fair shake at Tottenham. Barely played on the Conte, barely played on the Ange Postecoglou. So the reality is, we don't even know if Jed Spence is levels, because he's never been really given the opportunity. So now, hopefully, he's going to have the opportunity. So let's see what he can deliver. I'm fairly positive about his contribution, or his future contribution to this team, because I think just on the bare basics, black and white, his footballing attributes, I think there's enough there for this guy to contribute and really push Pedro Porro onto the bench if he's not careful.
Yeah, fair. It was literally this time last season as well. He was coming out to obviously the Tottenham mouthpieces and be like, "Look, I want to stay. I want to fight for my place." Then within like a week of those comments or so, he was shipped on loan to Leeds. Didn't really get a chance to show himself, like you said, Tobe. So it's a good point. Ever since he even came in, I can't remember him having like a kind of stretch of games where he was able to at least like make cameos off the bench and really show like what he can do. So yeah, this is his last dance. We've got a lot of games to play this season. He's homegrown, so why not? Ridwan asks, is Issa Kabore good enough, better than Emerson?
I don't want Issa Kabore. Keep him at
Fair.
Man City. And I don't think those links are true. I think 2 credible Spurs sources have come and they've shut him down already. I can't see Spurs signing another right back when Jed Spencer's been playing for us all season and we've got Pedro Porro there. It just wouldn't make sense.
Also, as well, I've kind of caught a little bit of City because I quite like Oscar Bob, and from what I've seen of Kabore, he doesn't look. I don't know. Maybe it's just preseason.
He's not that good. We watched him at Luton last year.
I've seen him.
He's not that good. Sorry,
I've seen him get skinned a little bit left, right, and centre, man. I'm not sure if he's as good as they say he is. I don't know. I think there's better anyway, but I also think that we're doing the right thing. We're saving money. We're keeping a homegrown player, and we're strengthening the squad with a player who we can tell is of like the desired quality. To be honest with you, I don't see why we should be looking to spend more money. Add more sort of weight to the first team squad, waste more wages. No, it's not for me. I don't think there's any point, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. Good question though. With that Paul O'Keefe and someone else ended up quashing it just outright, just said no, not true. Looks like it's come out of thin air. Just Spencer replaced Kieran Trippier at Newcastle United. Samuel Grimm says, no, they've already got the replacement in Livramento. Someone who we should have probably signed, but is what it is. Good gamble that paid off for Newcastle, to be fair, because he'd come off a really big injury.
ACL, big one.
I think they're good. I think they're good. And they got Lewis Hall to come in at fullback as well. Anyway, there are obviously rumours which haven't come out of anywhere. So we ended up having this, obviously, striker shortlist, which came out well over a month ago. And it was Gaio Queiroz, Guirassy of Stuttgart, Tony and Jonathan David, I feel like it was. And now today and over the course of yesterday as well, it looks like we could be well in and seriously in for Dominic Solanke, which I didn't even think was new news at first. Like, I thought he was kind of interest before, and they were just re-reporting that, we're monitoring it. We're monitoring it. Like, okay, fair. Yeah. Booker T. I think we ended up having a pod where I was doing a lot of Solanke prop and PR, and I wasn't sure if you were that keen on it or not, or if I managed to sell you like you and Dave sold me on Tony last week. But what are your thoughts on Solanke? Obviously, fee factored in.
I like him. I don't buy this notion that it was a one good season where he's had this huge goal rush. He's only really consistently played in the Premier League once before, and he came into the Bournemouth team 19 odd million, and that was like 2 years ago. And Bournemouth have been a struggling side, and to be honest with you, I actually think in terms of his career, his trajectory has been really good. It didn't work out at Chelsea. He moved to Liverpool. From Liverpool, he didn't really get the chances that he wanted and ended up getting loan and then being bought. I look at his game and I think there's lots of positives. I've said this before. I think the fact that he's been able to score consistently in the Premier League last season is a massive positive. I think he scores all types of goals, which I think is really, really important as a striker these days. He gets in behind, he links well, combines well with others. He scores headers. He looks technically assured. I think he's probably at the right age. And he does things from a technical perspective, well. I don't have any real issues with much of his game. I did think he was probably somewhere on the list for people this summer, along with Isaac and Watkins. And the fact that it's come so late in the window was a little bit surprising. because he obviously hasn't gone away anywhere. He's not been in any international tournaments or anything like that. So I'm a little bit interested as to why it's taken this long for this link to really come out. But I'm not against it. If I'm only really concerned, the one thing I'm only really concerned is just the fee. I don't think the age is the problem. He turns 27 in September. And I feel like in terms of the trajectory of his career, like Eze, like Maddison last year, I think these players are coming from teams that are what would be looked at as inferior, but as they look to raise the level and increase their profile, with playing for a London team, possibly playing for England in the future, I feel like this is probably a nice step up for like players like this. And I don't see there's any reason why he can't come in and perform at a similar, if not better level to what he did last year. I really do like the link. My only one reservation is the fee. But having seen him perform like this at a struggling, or not struggling, or an improving Bournemouth, kind of gives me indication that I think he could do better. He could do better at Spurs with better quality players around him.
Yeah, I can see him really putting on a good partnership with Son for a start. Like you, I agree. He's dynamic, very good technically, creates his own chances, great in the air. It's really, for me, a net positive. I don't even care about the fee that much. It's just, again, like you said, just weird to me why we've waited this long. I imagine it's because we want to just try and maintain a good selling position for the people we do want to offload. Like, we don't want to appear desperate and trying to make up like 65 million worth of what we'd already spent on Solanke. But in doing that, we've then given other selling clubs of players we want to buy a stronger position, because we're less than 2 weeks, about 2 weeks out from the start of the Premier League season now. So it's a weird way of doing business, considering at this point, last year in the summer window, even though, again, there was a major tournament this year, there wasn't last. We had done quite a lot of our business already. So it's just annoying that we've had this so-called plan in place since May, and just been happy with it since May, and we've not really pulled the trigger on anything yet. So yeah, I really hope we do get Solanke though. Like, bring me him, especially like just after all the good prop today, and season starting soon. I want someone to kind of come on in our last preseason friendly against Bayern Munich and just dunk on them with Kane playing, just to be a little bit petty as well. So yeah, bring me Solanke. Tobes, what are your thoughts on it? As you tend to get quite a lot of activity on your timeline, especially, and yeah, you've kind of been just not even taking Solanke's side, but again, just having to fight off people with waffling opinions, really.
Yeah, I just don't really get the inconsistency. I think I'm someone who likes to assess in totality, right? And Solanke, he's been the topic of discussion long before he was linked to this move by Fabrizio, right? So Dansoff and Meads and Disu, right, we're in another chat and we've spoken about this. They've mentioned Solanke to me in the past, and the same thing I said about Solanke then is the same thing I'm saying now. He looks good. He's having a good season. Well, he had a good season. Looks like he's at an age now where he's making a step up, and this may be a longer lasting thing, but the reservation is like, because we've been so scarred by just the standard of strikers now, how it's decreased generally across the board. You almost want to see the striker do it again for you to be convinced. That was how I felt with Ollie Watkins. He's the perfect example. Like Ollie Watkins, I saw him scoring 10 goals, 13 goals, 14 league goals in the season. I never really believed he could be someone who could get close to 20, right? And then he hit like 17 with Emery. I said, yo, this is good. Finishing's good. I want to see it again because I'm still not sure. And then he does it again. And now I have a different perception of Ollie Watkins. But I don't want to wait that long potentially to have that perception of Solanke, because if you wait that long, you get into a position where the player actually moves elsewhere and does it for another club, or you price yourself out of a move for said player, because everyone then becomes more cognizant of what the player is able to do. And then bang, it goes from 65 million to 80 million, right? So you almost have to take a risk on these strikers. And that was my fear earlier on last season, because it was like, yeah, he looks good. He's performing like a good striker. But I'm just fearful that if we pay the 65 million, are we so sure we're going to get the same return at Spurs? So that's my worry with Solanke. It's the price. If this was costing Spurs 40 odd million to even 50 odd million, okay, fine. I could eat that one up. It's like that's the going. That's just below the going rate now for a striker who's starting regularly for a club in the Prem. But the 65 million fee, it's a lot, man. It really is. It really is. But that being said, he looks a good striker. He's a good striker. He's come off his best ever Premier League season, and he's at the right age where he looks like he can potentially make this a longer lasting thing. So if Spurs were to sign him, even with my reservations, I'd be calm. What I can't understand is man saying no to Solanke, but propping up guys that they don't watch on a weekly basis and don't have enough evidence to say that this guy will come in and perform better. So case in point, Guy Carez. A lot of people are mentioning his name to me. Oh, why are we going for Solanke? Go and sign Guy Carez. I'm like, okay, maybe you have a point, because he's just come off his best season, bagging goals for Sporting Lisbon, etc., etc. Then I check the tapes, I check the stats, and I'm like, hang on a second, this guy's 26 years old. He's the same damn age as Dominic Solanke. Then I check his goal scoring record. Yeah, he hit. I think he hit like 29 goals in 33. Fantastic goal to game ratio. But then I checked the league. A man is playing in Portuguese league, the same league that Darwin Núñez batted up. What's he done in this league? The same league that Gonzalo Ramos batted up. These are two guys that I thought were really good strikers. Gonzalo Ramos went to a team with a clear level in quality in comparison to Benfica in a stronger league. What did he do? He floundered. So I don't say this to say that Guy Carez will flop, because from the little I've seen, I like the look of Guy Carez. I've always said I'd be calm with both. If Spurs didn't sign Solanke, they went for Guy Carez, I'd be calm with that, because I think we now need to take a risk. That's what we have to do. We need to take a risk on a striker who looks good, and both of these guys, they look good. Of course, I know Solanke more than I know Guy Carez, but what I don't get is man pretending like there's a chasm of quality between the two that is preposterous, that Spurs are looking for Solanke and aren't in for Guy Carez. You have no evidence to suggest that Guy Carez is going to hit in this league. You don't. If anything, you're turning your nose up at the striker who you've seen perform in this league for a striker who hasn't performed in this league when they have a similar trajectory. They both played in the championship. And what's mad is Dominic Solanke outscored this guy when they were in the championship.
Yeah,
I looked at
he
outscored this guy when they were in the championship.
A crazy season as well.
So it's just I think there needs to be fairness. It's the same thing with Tony as well. We've had the discussion with Tony. I take Tony. I think he's a good striker. I just think he's a dickhead. I don't like his personality off the football pitch, but he's a good striker. The fundamentals he brings to the game, they will definitely improve Tottenham. I'll take Tony even with the age. But again, man, are saying take Tony because Tony's had more seasons scoring double figures. But I'm like, if you watch them both objectively, they're similar in terms of what they can bring to Tottenham. So how can you, if anything, Dominic Solanke is more active, faster, probably more aggressive off the press. Like, there's no way you can look at Tony's characteristics and see that he will be a good fit for Spurs and then say Dominic Solanke won't, because Tony's got the 12 Premier League goals and then the 20 Premier League goals.
I mean, it really is like, from an optics perspective, what you think is better. Do you want someone who knows that he can back himself, is extremely overconfident, some would say arrogant, against someone who is maybe underrated but has managed to score at a high clip for a decent Bournemouth side in a range of ways, whether it's in the box, whether it's in the air, from outside the box. I mean, I don't think that people are being objective in their arguments. I certainly feel that with any of these other leagues, you have to take into account the level of that league, and I feel like the real litmus test, in my opinion, is the Premier League. It really is the Premier League. So if you're going to use that as the biggest marker, then the person who looks way out in front in this whole conversation is Solanke. Like, imagine today, I saw one crazy stat, and I had to just check it to be sure, and it was correct. In the last 3 years, that Tony has been in the Premier League, he has 14 open play goals. Dom Solanke scored 14 open play goals just last season. So this is a player.
I thought it was 17 non-penalty goals.
I think it's high. I think it's higher.
He's more than capable of performing at this level, considering he's playing for Bournemouth. And I just don't think that people should suddenly look at him and think, oh, this is an average mid-signing Spurs not wanting to go for the big top names. When, in my opinion as well, like generally in world football now, there's just not that many world top class strikers that are attainable at a decent sort of going rate, in my opinion. So I feel like if the link is there and the possibility is there to be signed, including, him doing a little bit of a little bit of PR himself, I just don't see why we shouldn't, pull the trigger on this. I just don't see why not.
Yeah, I think the only ones.
Go on, Owen. Go on.
No, I was going to say, like, I feel like the only strikers who are like even mildly viable that can talk to Solanke are probably Luis Openda or Vlahovic. But again, realistically, we're not in the Champions League. Solanke's the next one. He's better than those. He'll really want to play for Spurs as well. Like, you've just only got to look at his Instagram post earlier today as well. Like, Ange always talks about, okay, I only really want to sign players that want to play for Spurs as well. So taking on all of his attributes and that kind of mentality, like we can't not. He even has a sexier celebration than Gyökeres as well. And it's such a good point because I didn't even know before I saw Tobes' tweet earlier that Solanke had outscored Gyökeres in the Championship. You could probably say Solanke is playing for a better team then. That's fair enough. But the litmus test is there. They've both played in England. Solanke's outperformed him. Solanke still does play in England. So, and he's shown he can do it. And at this point of the window, a signing from the Premier League will adjust obviously a lot quicker than one signed outside the Premier League. Like, I'm not trying to see Jonathan David, but I feel like the general consensus from Spurs fans is they'd probably rather Jonathan David because sexier name from outside the league. That tends to be a preferred option. I would hate Jonathan David. Let me make that abundantly clear. Name? But yeah.
Oh my God! If people,
my thing is, he's not even sexy name. Jonathan David is not good. I've watched enough to know that this guy would drown trying to be the focal point. He would drown, and even Openda as well. Openda, he looks good. Sorry, Tops. Openda, he looks good for Leipzig, but again, I'm yet to see Openda lead a line for his team. Leipzig, the way they play, they normally play two up top.
I've seen it.
They normally play two up top for the most part. So Openda, I like the technical quality he brings, but again, I'm a bit wary of these guys that mainly play in a two coming into play by themselves. I think it ain't easy, especially in this league. It's not easy. However, I can hear him. I could take a risk on Openda. I'll take a risk on Gyökeres. I'll take a risk on Solanke. I'll take a risk on Tony. The point I'm making is, unless we sign a striker who is Harry Kane, Erling Haaland,
Alexander
Isak, they're all going to have a risk. Even Ollie Watkins now. Ollie Watkins, I think he's now at a stage now where if you signed Ollie Watkins, he probably guarantees you goals. But the problem is, how much would Ollie Watkins cost? He's 28 years old now. He would cost a madness. He'd cost a madness. An absolute madness.
Crazy.
You have to play with the cards out now, man, honestly. And that doesn't mean signing scrubs. We've just spoken here. We don't want Jonathan David. He's not good enough, right? I wouldn't be happy with someone like Mateta. I wouldn't be happy with B grade, in fact, C or D grade strikers.
Mateta.
Bro, he stinks. I don't care what anyone tells me. He stinks. It's come from the fact that Aston Villa are moving for him. It comes from the fact that Aston Villa are moving for him. And even Fulkrug as well. Like, he looks like he's a decent striker as well. But, like, I just want someone who's... We've spoken about this so much in the chat. I need someone who leads with the technical quality first. Can you have a sturdy technical base for us to work with and score the goals. If you can't do both, sorry, not up to it. Because man can sit here, and I know they're going to say, oh, Tobes, you're chatting shit again. But Richarlison, he scored 11 Premier League goals in 18 starts. He scored 11 Premier League goals in 18 starts. If I didn't mention his name and I just mentioned those numbers to you, you'd say, yo, that's a decent return. But we have eyes. We watched him play.
Good thing we watched him play. I was just going to say, good thing we watched our eyes, man. That's what I'm going to say.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't good enough. So that's why we have to lead with the technical base first. And I believe signing guys with the profile of Solanke, it's good for Tottenham, potentially, if they can maintain their scoring. It's good.
So there we go. I think that will pretty much wrap it up. That was, I'll say, a nice short one for you guys. Shout out to Joel Kim again for his knowledge on Young Min Hook, and obviously thank you for Toast for showing out. Thank you for Booker T for showing out. Okay, Tops Goldberg. Keep a lookout for our streams every Friday. Or how we feel. We're very active on the Twitter account at the moment at New Spurs Order. Look out for more content there. Obviously, Tobes is now back from his ventures, so you won't have to listen to me as much. So yeah, just feel free to check out our content all across the board.
Sorry.
And for now, peace.
Safe.